The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph ATEWE,
And your sports Amazon, NENGI ERNEST.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Bẹ́gùn bá jáde, mọ̀rìnwó la kọ́kọ́ rí, ọwọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ ní síwájú ìjó, ẹsẹ̀ katakata ní síwájú rìn, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń gbúrò wa, a tún ti dé náà nù. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Owambe Unlimited. Pẹ̀lú èmi ọmọ yín, olólùfẹ́ yín, ọ̀rẹ́ yín, Suliat tẹ́túmọ̀ sí Morenikeji. Ẹ lè pè mí ní Susu, tó bá wẹ̀ lómi, a sọ pé ìyálòde àríyá, gbogbo orúkọ tẹ́ ẹ bá pè mí. Kò sí èyí tí mi ò ní jẹ yín. Ẹ farabalẹ̀, kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò Owambe Unlimited lórí ìkànnì Western Spring Television ní ìkànnì 190. Ibẹ̀ ni Owambe Unlimited ń bọ̀ wá, ẹ fàpùrẹ̀ tẹ̀dí, kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò àríyá wa.
Wọ́n sọ fún yín pé ẹ máa wo Owambe Unlimited lórí Western Spring Television.
Èdè Yorùbá jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn èdè tí wọ́n ń sọ ní agbègbè Niger Congo. Èdè Yorùbá gbajúgbajà ní àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó ń bẹ ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Ó kéré tán, àwọn ènìyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 14 ló ń sọ èdè Yorùbá lónìí. Ètò akọ́mọlédè ló ń dé sójú ìwòran yín láti iléeṣẹ́ móhùnmáwòrán WSTV ìkànnì 150 channel 190 lórí Star Times. Folúṣọ́ Ayaolúwagbémiga, ìyá ìjọ pèdèpèdè, ìyá akọ́mọlédè ló kọ tèmi. Yorùbá dùn púpọ̀, Yorùbá ò lè kú, Yorùbá ò lè parun. Tiwa làṣà, tiwa lèdè, tiwa nìṣẹ̀ṣe akọ́mọlédè.
Atótó arére.
Kò ṣeé má gbọ́ ìròyìn.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the show. It is Sports Spring on Western Spring Television, where we give you stories making headlines in the ever-busy world of sports. My name is Joseph ATEWE, saying good morning and welcome once again.
And I am NENGI Ernest Ademola. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. Like I will usually say, there's a whole lot in store for you today. Today's actually loaded with stories from the local scene down to the world of tennis, as well as Formula One. Now, as it concerns the local scene, remember we told you about the fact that the NNL Super 8 is on, and 3 out of 4 teams that were relegated from the NPFL during the 2021-2022 season have now gained promotion into the NPL 2023-2024 season. In the world of Formula One, the 2024 race schedule has been released, and the Wimbledon 2023 is still on. Welcome on board again, but we'll start off from the local scene.
We'll start from the local scene and talk about the Super 8. We know the Kano Pillars, Katsina United and Heartland have been promoted to the NPFL. And trust me, there's a clubs that will give other teams a very stiff competition, because they've known in the Premier League what went wrong in the 2021-2022 season can't be explained, and most especially for Kano Pillars and Heartland FC, former champions of the NPFL. But we know that at this point, they've gained promotion to the league proper.
And of course, just like Joseph has rightly stated, Kano Pillars, Katsina United, and of course, Heartland FC has gained promotion. Now, 4 teams were relegated from the NPFL 2021-2022 season. 3 of these teams have mentioned, and also MFM FC. But MFM FC currently is nowhere to be found, and the 3 others have finally gained promotion into the Nigerian Premier League. So, all promoted sides so far, we have the Sporting Lagos FC, of course, just being adopted and definitely getting promotion. It's a nice one from them. Kudos to them. And the likes of Kano Pillars, just like I've earlier stated, Katsina United and Heartland FC just spent 1 year in relegation, and right now they're back. So let's get into details of that one as it happened. Now, former champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League, Kano Pillars, and their Northwest rivals, Katsina United, have gained promotion back to the top flight at the ongoing Nigerian National League playoffs in Asaba. Prolific striker Victor Mbaoma converted the penalty that helped Katsina beat Pillars 1-0 and secure their place in the NPFL. While the defeat didn't affect Kano Pillars' fate, Pillars also topped the Northern Conference with 6 points and a superior goal difference, followed by Katsina, who also had 6 points. And according to management, fans, and the Kano State government, of course, according to the 4-time NPFL champions, they posted after the game that we are back to where we belong. Congratulations to our players, coaches, management, fans, and Kano State government for the support and encouragement. Meanwhile, both Pillars and Katsina United were relegated, like I rightly stated earlier on, from the NPFL at the end of the 2021-2022 season. Meanwhile, 5-time champions of the NPFL, Heartland of Owerri, completed the quartet of the new sides in the top flight after coming back from a goal down to beat Sporting Lagos 2-1. So the Nez Millionaires also returned to the top flight just 1 season after their relegation. Good one coming from these 4 clubs that have gained promotion into the Nigerian Premier League for the 2023-2024 season. Of course, we expect a bumper package when it gets to that season.
All right, still with the Nigerian Premier Football League, let's travel to Enugu, where former Nigerian Premier League champions Rangers International of Enugu on Wednesday unveiled Fidelis Ilechukwu as the new coach for the next 2 years. Mr. Ferdinand Ngwara, Rangers FC Administrative Secretary, made this known on Wednesday in Enugu after presentation of the coach to newsmen. Promised the coach of a favorable working environment to take the team back to where it belongs. The former handler of the Coal City Club, Abdul Maikaba, left his post after the expiration of his contract in June. Ugwara said that the club was a corporate institution, unlike other clubs in the country that are being run by individuals. Now we disagree to agree because we want the best of Rangers FC and have accepted rather to be coached with humility, acceptance, and accommodation to take the club back to where it belongs, Fidelis Ilechukwu has said. And just some analysis, Nengi. I've seen unveiling of players and coaches in the Nigerian Premier Football League. I've seen pictures in other countries, even in Africa, and things are done properly. If you want to attract investors, I believe in packaging.
Those
I believe
little,
in branding.
those are little packages.
What is this on our screen?
It's the unveiling.
No, let's be real. What is this? You can have a proper press conference where the guys, you know how they do it. It takes nothing to set up that.
But I feel this is the same thing as a press conference, but these are pictures taken from the press conference.
You don't understand what I'm saying. Branding, packaging. Go and check.
I get your point, Joseph.
It's
I get your point. But this is a picture from the press conference.
You don't understand. See that small banner at the back. You can do these things. You can get it. I saw a picture too of a player that was unveiled by is it what he was one time. He was on the bed. I think the chairman was passing food and was doing like this. No,
very disastrous at that point. Joseph, I get your point. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that is the unveiling.
Okay.
That is it. And anyways, kudos to Rangers FC International for getting a new coach.
Kudos to them.
I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about Rangers right now, not about the unveiling and all of that. They've got a new coach, and definitely they should be able to do better in the 2023.
They can do. If you look at the title, see, little things like this matter. The title at some point until we cried. Yeah. Before the team, you have rebound when it's not in the house. On it. This is a professional league now.
True, absolutely. But let's go ahead and recall that sometime this week we brought you news about the fact that the WAFUB Champions League Women Qualifiers, the draws will be held, I think, sometime this week. And of course, we have an update for you concerning that one. And also recall that we have Delta Queens who would participate in that one after getting the NWFL Champions title. And it just concluded Super 6 for the NWFL. Now, African Soccer Ruling Body has released the draw for the 2023 CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers. Now, according to the draw released on Monday evening, Nigerian champions Delta Queens have been placed in Group A of the WAFUB regional qualifiers. And Delta Queens qualified to represent Nigeria after they emerged as the champions of the Nigerian Women Football League Super 6. And they will trade tackles with USFA of Burkina Faso, Sam Lely of Benin, and Atletico of CIV. Now, Group B also consists of the likes of Ampem Dakoa from Ghana, AS Garden National from Niger, and Amis du Monde from Togo. Now, we've seen our girls perform very well at the CAF Women's Champions League. The very first one, Rivers Angels, went, made a mess of themselves, came back, and then realized that they needed to do something better. And the second set, I think, was Bayelsa Queens. They got there, and they came, even as debutants and underdog in such a competition, they came as third. And this time around, we're expecting Delta Queens to surpass each and every record that has been set by Bayelsa Queens and also Rivers Angels. What do you think?
Yeah, I expect them to perform very well because, I mean, if you look at the Super Falcons, for example, they are 9 times African champion, and the bulk of players that have won major of these titles were home-based players. Even the last Nations Cup that we came forth, I mean, you had a large chunk of the players home-based players. So what it means is that these girls have grown from the league to the national team. You also remember that many of the players executed the last 2 editions of the Nations Cup for the Super Falcons. Many were picked from Delta Queens, Abia Angels. So it means that something is working with these clubs. Now, you have these guys or these girls that come together to go play a major competition like, what's the name right now, the WAFUB Champions League, knowing fully well there's a lot at stake in terms of money and the publicity. So I expect the girls to do well because what I'm saying in a nutshell is that if the girls can do it with the national team, this is their own club side they want to promote as well. And of course, put the country on the world map. They would definitely make a statement, I believe.
And of course, let's move further and talk about the Women's World Cup. Now, if I'm not mistaken right here, I think 14 days remaining to the Women's World Cup, which is slated to start from July 20th. And of course, the Super Falcons will get to trade tackles with their very first opponents on July 21st. Now, the 9-time African champions who arrived Gold Coast in Australia on Tuesday will face co-host Australia, reigning Olympic queens, Canada, and the Republic of Ireland in Group B of the competition. Now, Randy Waldrum's team will continue their proud distinction of appearing at every edition of the competition since they first qualified for the inaugural tournament in 1991. The Falcons have reached the knockout phase twice in 1999 and 2019. And just to give you a bit of details concerning that one, at USA 1999, they upset Korea, DPR, and Denmark before losing one of the greatest games in the competition's history with Sissy's golden goal, edging a 7-goal thriller for Brazil in the quarterfinals. And just to also inform you, we told you earlier on that 21 players are currently in Gold Coast, Australia for their training preparation towards their very first match, and they're still expected in camp at the likes of Halimatu Ainde and Francisca Odega. But what is getting to us as at this morning from their Twitter handle, that's the Nigerian Super Falcons Twitter handle, we know that 18 players took part in their first training session today at Gold Coast Sports Center. And of course, we also have new arrivals into the camp. Gift Monday, Esther Okoronkwo and Tochukwu Oluwehi all arrived in camp this morning. And so they didn't take part of the training because they had to rest.
Moving on with more stories, this is despite failing to deliver the infrastructures on the 30th of June as earlier planned, the local organizing committee of the 2023 African Cup of Nations continues its readiness for the competition. The LOC on Wednesday announced that the official anthem for the biennial competition will be unveiled in no distant future. The anthem is titled Akwaba. The title of the song was revealed by A. Safo, the leader of the group Magic System and author of the anthem of this 34th edition. The official anthem of the CAN 2023 is entitled Akwaba, to say welcome to African football in the land of elephants. The songwriter said, all the infrastructure is ready and Côte d'Ivoire is ready to welcome the 24 qualified teams. I swear to you, it will be the most beautiful African Cup of Nations that Africa has ever witnessed. That's the statement. Why did you
Let's not write them down.
No, I'm not writing them, but we're just saying. It says it will be the most beautiful tournament.
I do hope so at the end of the day. And, you know, still talking about CAF right here, we also know that the Executive Committee of the Confederation of African Football has concluded plans to meet on Friday in Rabat, Morocco, to have a crucial talk on the bidding countries for the 2025 and 2027 African Cup of Nations. Now, the Executive Committee meeting will be chaired by President Dr. Patrice Motsepe, where all the executive members are expected to be present. Now, the meeting will deliberate on several matters, including the ongoing bidding process of the Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations 2025 and CAF African Cup of Nations 2027. And also to conclude on that part, the Executive Committee will also discuss the upcoming 45th CAF Ordinary General Assembly that will be hosted in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire on the 13th of July 2023.
Let's move on with more stories here and tell you that Avido Quadri in the world of table tennis has dropped on the rankings.
Of course, and I think this currently has been consistent in terms of him dropping off the rankings. But a little bit of details in that one. We know that Haruna Quadri dropped one spot from 17th to 18th in the latest International Table Tennis Federation World Rankings for the month of June. Despite the drop, the 34-year-old is still the top-ranked player in Africa, having accumulated 1,150 points during the month under review. And Egypt's Omar Asa is second in Africa after he moved up one spot from 23rd to 22nd globally. And we also know that China's Chuqing Wang dethroned countryman Zhendong Fan to become the top-ranked ping-pong player in the world. And that is how it stands when it comes to the ITTF rankings.
And from the board to the tracks. Let's talk athletics, where world record holder Tobiloba Musa has emerged the national champion of for the fourth consecutive time at the women's 100 meters of the Nigerian Athletics Championship in Benin, clocking a time of 12.70 seconds under drizzling rain. She was at least 10 meters ahead of her nearest competitor, and this win makes it rather the fourth national title in a trial that will be used to select Team Nigeria for the 19th World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary, scheduled to be held from the 19th to the 27th, 2023. And we talked about Toby yesterday
exactly.
And why the trials are being held. We understand to discover talent and see if the better athletes that can match or surpass what she has. But then she gave them a run for their money.
Of course, and that is what is expected of her, because it would have been somehow you seeing Tobiloba Musa on the tracks and you see another person. I'm not saying it's possible definitely for another person to want to surpass her or even equal her pace. But I tell you for sure, the both of us would have been talking about the fact that what really happened to Tobiloba Musa if she hadn't emerged a champion for the very fourth time in the 100-meter hurdles. That's for the AFN trials. Now, still on that particular topic, we know also that as the World Athletics Championship trials enter day 2 of actions and thrills in Benin, the president of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Chief Tonobok Okowa has commended Edo State government for hosting the 2023 World Athletics Championship trials in Benin. Now, the Athletics Federation of Nigeria began the World Athletics Championship Budapest 2023 trials in Benin on Tuesday, July 5th, 2023, with over 450 athletes, including world champions Tobiloba Musa, Ese Brume, and others in Benin to burn the Tatian tracks at the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium. And the truth is, this is not the first time that Benin will be hosting the AFN trials. And I think at this point in time, we need to give them kudos because they do understand what it is, what it means to be able to host such a trials, become popular in the sporting world. And I mean, look at the infrastructure. It is highly maintained.
Well, as we've analyzed this so many times, and we talked about different state governments. For example, if I'm the governor of a state, sport will thrive because naturally I love sport.
Absolutely. And
that is what you're witnessing at those states. But in long time, if Shaibu and the other guy, what's the name of the governor
Godwin Obaseki,
leaves the position and somebody comes in, he doesn't like sport. He puts his attention on something else. So look at what is happening in Oyo State. We spoke about it yesterday. Billions of naira was spent on the Lake Salami Stadium. That stadium is finer than the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium. It is bigger. It is capable enough to host any competition. But then it's been abandoned for crusades and inter-house sports. And that's the alarm we're raising right now. Billions of naira have been spent. Let it be in use for the right purpose. Because if the league, what's the name of the guys now? Is it, not Sunshine Stars is Akure, Shooting Stars are not playing. I mean, it's under lock and key and not supposed to be so. So these are things they need to put in place. There's so many stadiums. The Adokia Masbaka Stadium, they can also do this. But then for now, the Edo State government love sport and they're pumping a lot of money into sport. And now we understand why we've been calling on government to hands off football, give these clubs to private owners and see how it thrives and see how things will work.
Absolutely. Let's see how things pans out to be right there. Now, before we get on the break and talk about the Wimbledon 2023, because we do understand that the likes of Iga Swiatek, Novak Djokovic, are firing all cylinders particularly. Let's get to some transfer as it concerns Nigerians in the diaspora. Now, let's talk about Genks, Onuachu, and updates reaching us particularly is that the Belgium Jubilee League side Genk have already indicated interest to have back Nigeria's Super Eagles and Southampton forward Paul Onuachu. Now, the lanky attacker joined the Saints during the winter transfer window, but his arrival had little effect on the team as they suffered relegation at the end of the season. Onuachu played 11 matches for Southampton this season and he was unable to register a goal despite having a decent goal run in the Jubilee League. Now, some clubs across Europe, including Borussia Mönchengladbach and Trabzonspor, have shown interest in getting him. But however, Genk joins the fray on Wednesday, but remains to be seen if Southampton will allow him to leave the club this summer. And just to also remind you that Onuachu played 134 times for Genk and scored 85 goals.
Ahead of the 2023-2024 Spanish La Liga season, Villarreal has marked Wednesday to Friday as its days. Its players, including Nigeria's Super Eagles winger Samuel Chukwueze, will undergo medical. Chukwueze is one of the key players for the Yellow Submarine last season and is touted to be on his way out of the club. AC Milan is leading the race for the club that is jostling to secure his services ahead of the new season. After the routine medical on Friday, the pre-season training will commence on Saturday. But we hear that aside the medical we'll be having at the Yellow Submarines is wanted in Italy by AC Milan.
Well, at this point in time, two of the favorites to win the Wimbledon title 2023 has to be Novak Djokovic and Iga Swiatek. And like I said earlier on, they are firing all cylinders. However, it was a shock for Katie Bolter, even as she was able to get into the next round of the Wimbledon 2023 after some protesters stormed in while she was playing to cause a disruption. We'll be right back after this break. Let's give you highlights of what happened yesterday.